Auburn putting in their preparations for week 3 of the college football season as they welcome Texas A&M to Jordan-Hare Stadium this weekend. Gus Malzahn addressing the media and some talking points for that. I bring in Tom Green on the plains now. And let's start with Sean White. He had a great performance last week against Arkansas State. Your thoughts on the confidence this team and the coaching staff has at this point in the season on him?
There's no doubt that last week's performance really raised some eyebrows for Sean White. It was by far his most efficient performance since he's been in college. He had 2 more touchdown passes in that game than he had all of last season. So he certainly looked a lot more comfortable, made some plays with his legs. So they feel real good about him coming out of that game. Team's confidence with him is rising. He's gaining even more trust. He showed the ability to make plays with both his arm and legs, and even the willingness to go and lead block for Kerryon Johnson, even though he didn't exactly block anybody. But just the willingness to go out there, meant a lot to a lot of those players.
Now, Tom, Texas A&M presents a whole new set of challenges, and it starts with a defensive end, some of the best in the country. How do they match up against Auburn's O-line?
The offensive line is going to be in for its biggest test possibly of the season. You're talking about Myles Garrett and Deshaun Hall, 2 of the best defensive ends in the country. When it comes to defensive ends, it's Myles Garrett and pretty much everybody else after that. Auburn's done a pretty good job against him the last 2 years. He's, I believe, the only team in the SEC West that he doesn't have a career sack against so far. But you have 2 very inexperienced tackles for Auburn in Austin Golston and Robert Leff, who've had their struggles early on this season. So it'll be interesting to see how they can maintain that. Auburn obviously is going to have a chance to look back at the film last year, the way Sean Coleman handled Myles Garrett, played excellent against him and really shut him down. Myles Garrett, I believe, said Coleman was one of the best tackles he's gone up against. So Auburn's going to have something to lean on there.
Tom, my last question for you. Auburn's defense going up against Texas A&M's offense. What key matchups do you see there?
It's going to be all about the receivers against the defensive backs there. Texas A&M might have the most talented receiving core in the SEC when you talk about Christian Kirk, Josh Reynolds, and Ricky Seals-Jones. Auburn's defense as a whole has played really well this season. They haven't, let the top off at any point, but they have given up a lot of big plays in the passing game, not necessarily on busted coverage, but just getting beat. Last weekend alone, they gave up 5 plays of, I believe, at least 30 yards. So that's something they really want to work on cutting back on, and they're going to have their hands full against Texas A&M's receivers.
All right. Thank you, Tom, for your insight. And for all your Auburn Tiger updates, visit us on AL.com.